Hello, everybody. Today we are going to learn about some quick fixes we can make to images in Photoshop. These exercises are drawn from Chapter 5 in the Photoshop Classroom in a Book for 2024. We'll talk about fixing red eye in photos, make some tone and color corrections, learn about the Liquify filter and how we can use that to change facial features. We'll blur around a subject to direct a viewer's attention, and we'll have some fun creating a panorama. So let's get started. Okay, so here we are in Photoshop, and the first thing I'm going to do is choose Window, Workspace, and Reset Photography. I do this because a lot of times I've drug panels and windows to different places, and I just always want to make sure that I start with everything that I need to see on screen on the screen. Then I'll choose File, Open, and let's go Redeye Start. So you can see this lady has red eye happening. What red eye is the camera flash reflecting off the back of a person's retina, and we see that as a red glow in the eyes. Photoshop has a dedicated tool to correct red eye, and you find it down here in the Extras menu in the Tool panel. I already have the red eye tool selected, but if you click and hold on those three dots, you'll see there are a lot of other tools in here that we can use. So I'll click on the red eye tool. Up here at the top, we have the tool options. Pupil size is the size of the area that the red eye tool is going to cover. And the darken amount is darken how much, from 1% to 100%, which is totally black. 25 and 75 are good starting points. So let's go ahead and click in here and click in here. Looks great. If Photoshop can't see the red the way you like, you might consider dragging the red eye tool over the area that you want that the red eye is in, and Photoshop will work from there. Now let's brighten up this image. I'm going to hit Command 0 to get it all back on my screen. And we'll come over here to the single adjustments and choose curves. Curves is one way to change the tone and colors of an image. First, let's press auto and see what happens. That looks pretty good. It lightened it up some. Let's reset it, and we'll come up here and choose one of the presets. You can give different curves to images by selecting one of these presets. This lighter preset looks a lot like the auto choice, but the difference is that the preset does the same thing to all images, where auto is calculated based on the image you are looking at. I think that looks nice, but I want it to be a little bit brighter. And I can just drag that midpoint up to brighten the image overall. Let's reset that. And one more way we can change the curves in an image is to click on this finger tool. And I'll come over here into her forehead, and when I click this tool here, you can see in the curve it starts rising up from that point. So everything that has a tonal value higher than the area where I first put my cursor will now be lightened. Or darkened if I drag it down. Let's go lighter. That looks nice. We'll leave it like that. Now let's look at the Liquify filter. Let's go ahead and flatten this image by clicking Layer and Flatten Image. Now we'll look at the Liquify filter under Filter, Liquify. Liquify is helpful for making realistic changes to faces. Let me show you what that means. Photoshop automatically detects faces in your image. Because there's one face in this image, it's labeled face 1. If there were other faces, they would be labeled face 2, face 3, etc. We can change the size and shape of parts of the face of the subject in our image. If I click on this chain here, it will change both of those in tandem together. You can see I've made her eyes slightly bigger. Click on the chain to make both of these 10. And when I click the preview button, you can see how it was changed. Let's come on down here and give her a little more of a smile. Let's say 40. There's a little smile. change the mouth height by 20. We can even change the shape of her face. So we'll put 40 in for her jawline and 60 in for her face width. And so having entered these numbers, I can click preview to see the changes that were made. Over here, you have some more specialized tools for making adjustments, liquify adjustments to the face. This one, the face tool, creates handles on the face where you can make those same adjustments that are over here by dragging the handles. You can make the adjustments visually. Change the eyes, nose, like that. Okay. We might want to use blur in order to direct a viewer's attention within a photo by making one element stand out. So in order to demonstrate that, I'm going to go under File and choose Open as Smart Object. And I'll choose this file. A smart object is a layer within a file that can be edited independently. So it's another non-destructive way to edit within your photos. Here with the egret, everything is in focus. So the bird isn't really standing out and I want the bird to pop out. So I'm going to come up to Filter, Blur Gallery, and choose Iris Blur, which opens this specialized window. Here within this ellipse that is created when I choose Iris Blur, I can drag the center to change the location of the iris. I can change its size by dragging any of these points along it. And I can change the feather amount by dragging any of these inner circles. I can also change the feather amount independently of each other by holding the Option key down on my Mac. And what this will do is kind of push that blur, that feathered blur edge a little further away from the bird. You can change the blur amount by clicking and dragging on this wheel here. And you can select different types of blur over here on the right-hand side. Explore the effects here to see how they might change your composition. Sometimes, for example, you may need to choose noise to add some visual noise back into the blurred area of your image so that it looks more natural. I like this, so I'll click OK. Now we can see before and after, so I'll turn the filter off and then back on. You can see how that blur makes the egret pop out a little bit. Now let's close these two files and let's make a panorama. Sometimes a vista is just too beautiful to be contained in a single photograph. Photoshop is able to take multiple images and stitch them together to create a high quality panoramic image. So let's look at how to do that. With no other files open, I'll choose File and Automate and Photo Merge. I'll browse to find the files I want to use and shift-click all 4 files in this folder. Choose Open. I'm going to choose the perspective layout for the final product. You can experiment with these to see which one looks best for your preferences. Down here at the bottom, blend images together means that it will align each image to align better with the next one. Vignette removal will fix if an image is darker at the edges of the frame. Geometric distortion will fix any weird warps, and content aware fill, transparent areas will fill the leftover areas after the panorama has been created. So let's click OK. Photoshop will do its calculations. And there we have it. A panoramic view of Seattle from 4 different image files. Here on the right-hand side, we have 5 layers now. The bottom 4 are the images that we chose. each masked out to achieve that alignment. And content aware fill placed the sky in these areas that were left over after the panorama had been created. And that looks nice. But it does look a little dull. So let's make another change to it. Because I like this, I'm going to come over here and choose Control click on one of the layers, and I'll choose Flatten Image. And then under Single Adjustments, I'll choose Levels. One of the ways that we can adjust the levels from black to white is by using these eyedroppers. The black eyedropper will set a black point. The gray point, the middle color, middle tone, can be set with this gray dropper. And we can use the white dropper to set a white point. So I'm going to click on that one and come into this cloud here and select that white area and to make this just a little bit brighter. There we go. We can see how it was affected. Now it looks nice. But now I look at it again, I can see that the horizon is slightly crooked and we're missing the bottom railing of this railing here. So I'm going to go ahead and flatten the image by control clicking, choosing flatten image, and then I will choose the crop tool. The first thing I'll do is select straighten and draw a line by clicking and dragging from one side to the other along the line that I want Photoshop to make straight. That looks pretty good. And it's done it. You can see how the kind of horizon is almost directly on top of this straight guideline that I have in here. But straightening the image has left these big empty areas, and we want to fill those in now. Because we have Generative Expand selected, I can click OK here, and Photoshop will then use its Generative Expand AI capability to fill in the empty areas. And that looks great. Generative Expand gives us 3 options. I think this one looks nice. We've filled in the empty areas and we have a bottom railing along our walkway here. I'll go ahead and flatten this image. I'll choose Layer, Flatten Image. And that'll do for today. I hope that you enjoyed this demo of Redeye fixes, tonal corrections, the Liquify filter, using blur to focus attention, and making a panorama. As always, if you have any questions, you can email me, japarker@atlantatech.edu. Thanks for watching.